Hey man, say man, this is the A-Man Show back at it again for more content. Golden State has lately been in shambles as far as the management goes, especially how they constructed the roster and specifically how they did not make a major move in this offseason. We are late in the offseason, and yes, the Warriors continue to procrastinate. They let Kevon Looney walk. They have multiple failed trade talks and moves that can improve the roster, such as turning down a Malik Monk trade that involved a protected first-round pick in 2030. They're in trade talks to get Cam Thomas, in which it never came through, and most importantly, they still haven't done a deal with Jonathan Kuminga, and they have yet to sign Al Horford, in which he is 38 years old and about to turn 39 this year, and pretty much a shell of his former self. Now, this current core of Curry, Butler, and Green, this is not enough for them to actually propel this roster into championship contention because their supporting cast is shit. I mean, they have one of the worst supporting casts in the NBA on paper. On the two, they have Buddy Hield, Moses Moody, and B-Pod, who offer spacing to this roster, but they lack consistency. And aside from Moses Moody, who is a decent defensive player, both Hield and B-Pod are not so good defensively. On the three, I mean, Yui Santos, who at times don't look like he's good enough to play in the NBA, and he's y'all's backup three. Kuminga as the backup four, and at the center position, Trey Jackson Davis and Quentin Post. This is a horrible bench, and legitimately, the Warriors do not have any depth on this roster whatsoever. And the reason why they're in this position is contracts. As a trio, Curry, Butler, and Green combined for over $139 million this offseason, which makes up over 90% of their entire cap and makes them well over the second apron, meaning they can't make big trades and they can't sign quality role players to upgrade their horrid depth. And that leads me to the Jonathan Kuminga situation, because he is a restricted free agent because the Warriors have his bird rights. Kuminga tried to sign with the Suns on a 4-year, $90 million deal and tried to get the Warriors to match his deal, and that never happened because, like I said, they're not trying to risk being deeper in the second apron by giving him the contract that he believes he rightfully deserves. If it was like in 2019, Kuminga would have easily gone that contract way earlier, if not more. But now we're in an era where it's extremely more difficult to maintain great roster due to the harsher penalties with the second apron. This is honestly one of the worst situations I've ever seen from a front office in quite a while, because you have a player in Kuminga who had made improvements over the years, but still not good enough to the point that you are really confident in him to be that torch that is passed by Curry. Despite his age, we don't really know if he can really live up to the contract that he wants, because we really haven't seen Kuminga have that breakout period where you can say, yeah, he will be one of the best players in the league in a matter of years. And it really has to do with him not being in the same pace with Steve Kerr. Oftentimes, Kerr will play him in and out, and him barely playing over 20 minutes per game. And most importantly, he was at times benching key moments of regular season games and, of course, playoffs. And hell, DMPs in the regular season. It got to the point where Kerr stated that he will not play Kuminga 38 minutes per game while playing with Draymond, Curry, and Butler on the same court, and for good reason. Kuminga can space the floor and make jumpers consistently to the point where he is a consistent starter on this Warriors offense. With that being in mind, Kuminga is in a spot where his team will not give him the deal that he wants, but at the same time, they will not trade him to another team because they don't want to have to match the deal with Kuminga made with the other team. And also, no team will want to trade their assets and also negotiate a new contract where he will get the money that he wants, because if Kuminga ends up not working out for another team, then they will end up being deeper in the hole of the second apron potentially, and teams nowadays are not willing to deal with that situation. So the best option for Kuminga is to accept the qualifying offer that the Warriors are giving him, and that will make him a unrestricted free agent next summer. Although it's a risky move, because if he has a worse season or gets injured this upcoming season, then I don't know how other teams are going to give him the contract that he wants. Still, I feel this is a leverage play that he will do, because one, him and Kerr are not on the same page because him not being utilized enough, and two, he can have more control in the future. He can sign with any team that he wants and fits with his play style. So if I were him, I would bet on myself and prove to this organization that I am a viable player in this league, and I'm gonna go to the team that best utilizes my talent elsewhere. As we look at the Warriors front office and how they drafted these young guys over the years, such as drafting James Wiseman, Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, hell, even add Jordan Poole in the mix. Looking back at it now, they would have been better off trading their high draft picks for more depth and hell, even for another star player. Looking back at it, it makes sense why they drafted these young guys, especially now because role players are more expensive than ever before. So might as well draft guys with the highest picks and sign them to the cheapest contracts, similar to what OKC is doing. But the Warriors have done a terrible job at developing these cats. Aside from James Wiseman, who is never going to be that good of an NBA player regardless, and Jordan Poole situation was more self-inflicted. They have heavily underdeveloped on these guys, such as a John Kuminga and Moses Moody, as well as a B-Pod and Gui Santos and other second rounders that never been given the steady development compared to other organizations. And that stems from Steve Kerr and his over-reliance on the vets to propel this team. Yes, this core of Curry and Draymond, they were essential to this dynasty, but this system was just too intolerable for these young guys to make mistakes, and Kerr never consistently gave these young players 30 plus minutes per game. If you are not using these young players for them to learn and grow from their mistakes, then why in the world would you draft them in the first place? You should have used those picks to get someone like a Pascal Siakam or OG Anunoby, a Miles Turner, or a DeJounte Murray over the years, but yet they hoarded all these draft picks hoping for the next dynasty post-Steph. And guess what? All the young players lost trade value over time, and they're stuck in the second apron, unable to add real depth, and the only player that have trade value is Kuminga, but even he is causing drama with the front office. Although the Warriors won their title in 22, but it led to bigger problems. The Warriors' young core barely contributed during that run, and the front office convinced themselves they can win now and build for the future without making tough decisions. Since then, that plan backfired. They held on to prospects instead of flipping them for depth or a star, and they didn't give those young guys real development time. Fast forward to now, and the result is a thin roster, a frustrated Kuminga, and a capped out team that is struggling to build around Steph. 2022 was the exception, not proof the two timeline idea worked. And also, I heard rumors that the Warriors are trying to trade for Giannis. I mean, are we kidding right now? You want Giannis on this team and also having to take on his contract while the Bucks negotiate a new contract for Kuminga? I mean, this is just dumb and unrealistic. They just can't make any flexibility to add a guy like Giannis to this roster, especially if you're over the second apron. So this is not happening. Not happening. And then we go to Steph Curry. Curry right now is going to his age 38 season, and let's be honest, he did slow down a bit, especially before Butler came in. He was logging 35 minutes per game in the playoffs, and even after Butler came to Golden State, the damage was already done. Because before Butler, Curry was having to carry the entire offense by himself in the regular season. And in the second round of the playoffs, he only played one game throughout that series against Minnesota because oftentimes Butler got injured, especially in that Houston series. And Curry had to play 41 minutes in Game 3 against Houston, in which they've won. But for his advanced age, you know that something will catch up to him at some point. And that's what happened to him in that Minnesota series. And this situation that Curry is in draws parallels to what Kobe had to go through in his later years. Both of them signed contracts that cap each other's team's cap base. Both of them have limited help and had organizational mismanagement after winning championships. For Kobe, it was Dwight Howard and Steve Nash not pairing well with one another and had no depth. For Curry, they mishandled player development, depth, and trades that led him to waste the twilight years of Curry's career. There is a realistic chance that Curry could retire with wasted seasons with a non-contending team. And so far, the Warriors are arguably in the worst situation out of any team in the NBA. And I don't know how they're going to fix this issue because now they have an aging star core, but no depth. And I wouldn't be surprised if they miss the playoffs this upcoming season because their supporting cast is just straight up anus. And that's the video. Let me know about the Warriors in the comment section below. Are the Warriors in the worst situation compared to all 30 teams in the league? Like I said, let me know and be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications so that way you don't miss anything new from me. And that is all. Stay litty. This is the A-Man Show. Sign out.